I am going to show you how to make a worm farm with 5-gallon buckets. So to start, your first bucket, which is going to be on the bottom, is just going to be a regular bucket, no holes, nothing. Your second bucket, which is going to go inside of this one, is going to need to have perforated holes all the way around every inch. And you're going to put that here on the rims, okay, all the way around. On the bottom, you're going to be doing the same thing, okay? Every 1 inch, you're going to have those all over the bottom of the bucket. Depending on how many, you got to have at least one to start. And then as you go, you're going to need another one to be your backup. So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to get a bunch of cardboard or newspaper or a mix of both. Put them into small pieces and wet them really good, and then transfer them to the bucket. Okay, you don't want water, it's gonna seep out, so I just wet them really good and then put them in. After that, you are going to add your worms. So there's all kinds of worms in here. Now, I luckily had a friend who is into doing a worm farm. She has a huge worm farm, and she gave me a whole bunch to get started. But I had already started myself. Sorry, I got interrupted. I had already started one myself with just a few worms that I had from the garden, which is this one here. But it takes a long time to get it going, so it's good if you have someone that has a huge farm like she does to get you started. But regardless, this is actually not dirt as you might think it is. It's actually worm poop. Stuff that it's already composting in hers. So she's given me a bunch of that, so I'm putting a bunch of that in here. You can see the worms are just like galore. That's what you end up getting. Like, she has tons and tons and tons of this. So I'm going to put a bunch of these all in, and then I have enough for that. So what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to top it off. This is a bucket that I have in my house that I just saved my compost with. So you're going to put some food scraps on top of that, okay? So they are going to be eating the food scraps and the cardboard and the paper and all of that kind of fun stuff. So that's basically how you get started. Some tea bags. And my hand's all filthy here. So that is how you begin your worm farm. Now, as I said, you're not going to have, luckily, luck out with somebody that I have that was able to give me all these great worms to start. But because she wasn't available to do it right away, I started my own probably about a month ago, and I don't have very many worms in here, but they're in there under all this stuff. There's a few of them. I only had like 10 worms or something like that to start from my garden, which will take me forever to get it going. But since she did this, it's going to move a lot quicker. But regardless, it still takes a number of months before you're going to get up to a place that you have all kinds. So what's going to happen is I put this on top of this one. As you see, all the holes are there, and then I am going to put on a lid on the top with the same thing, holes every inch all over. You need good aeration, remember, okay? So what's going to happen is every couple days, I'm going to top this off with a little bit more food. You only do it as you see them eating what you've put. Usually it's every couple days. If you only have a few worms like I did to begin, you don't want to overfeed them. You don't want to give them too much food, okay? So you just give them a little bit on the top. So as they eat it and as the farm develops, you may need to feed them every 2 days. In regards to this one, because I just had a few worms, I just added some in there today, but I didn't know that I was supposed to feed them every couple days. But because I had very little, they still had stuff they could eat. They're still okay. They have cardboard and everything. But as you do it and as you go along, it's going to take place a little bit quicker. And I'm going to take the rest of these and I'm going to put them in here to get this farm going better as well. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to just dump the rest in there, dump the rest in there. there. I'll make sure I get all the leftovers after. So as they eat all of that, and as you continue to feed them, it's eventually going to grow up, and it's going to be all poopies, just like you've seen here. That's what when she gave me a bunch of worms, it's not dirt, it's their poop. So worm castings is one of the most nutritious composts for your garden. So as they eat all of that, and as over the months to come, this eventually is going to fill right up to the top, okay? And as they do that, this is going to be the next level. So this is on there regardless. But as they eat that, they're going to come to the top of the bucket, and they're going to come up through these holes. Sorry, I got that wrong. I'm not starting over. Don't put the cover there. This is what they're going to come up through. The cover goes on the top. So your next bucket goes on top of that. So as they eat from the first one, they are going to come up through the bottom of the next one when they need more stuff. So as you can see, next layer, they have all kinds of food to go from there. And you can build this tower up as much as you want, but because I'm just starting, I'm just going to do with the 2. So because this is the top bucket, that's when you put the lid on, not before. So because the bottom of the bucket, the second bucket, is automatically going to be your cover, right? So that is basically how you do a worm farm. And as the soil again comes to the tip top, I can have another bucket, or I just go down to the bucket before it, and empty all that good compost into my garden or your raised beds or whatnot, and make sure you don't lose your worms. You want to put your worms back into the next layer, because they're going to need the fresh, rich stuff. If you take and just dump all that onto your garden with the worms and everything, there's going to be a lot of baby worms in there and stuff like that that are going to die. So you want to make sure you transfer the worms that might be left in there, although most of them will transfer up to the next level. If you find other ones there that are mixed in, like little baby ones that weren't able to do the transfer up, then just try to take those out and add them to that bucket before you put all that compost on your garden, because they will need the extra rich soil that they are born in to survive. They will not make it in the regular garden as babies. So that is what I've learned, and that is my worm farm. So yeah, that's it, folks. So in about 3 or 4 months, this bottom bucket should be full of rich compost, and yeah, that's how to do it.